Picture this, it's 8 p.m., you've just shut your laptop, another day has gone by, and you feel that familiar pang. You've given your best energy to a job that maybe you don't even want long term. I mean, it's been one of those days. You've put in the work, it's been a good day, productive, you're getting the recognition, everything's working. But deep inside, this isn't what you really want. And you tell yourself maybe this weekend, or you try to journal, you try to think about it, and every time you kind of sit down to actually work on something that is important to you, your personal goals, or where you want to take your career, you feel too distracted, too overwhelmed, you don't know where to start. And this cycle can go on, and I'm sure that you can relate to this, that if you're on this podcast right now listening, that months and months and years can go by and you keep watching other people quit jobs, change jobs, shift gears, start something, start newsletters, or start a personal brand, and it's all good. And then you're kind of stuck thinking to yourself, I want this, I just don't know how to get there. I'm just stretched too thin. I have too many things going on. There has to be another way. And then maybe this is the time when you start to contemplate taking some time off, a sabbatical, something like that, because you're just craving a lot of mind space, just space and time to think, and that's not something that you're getting right now. If that's you, if you could relate to this, then this episode is for you. Hi, I am Mansi. I help high performing corporate professionals create work that works for you and not the other way around. And if you're stuck in a mid career crisis, then this is the little corner of the internet where we are having the conversations that sometimes you're too afraid to have, even with your friends, or you've never had them at work. This is the Rich, Free, and Limitless podcast, and this is where we're talking about creating careers that make us feel lit up, work that works for us. Okay, so let's get into this. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth: the job is not the problem, your productivity is also not the problem, and you don't need more discipline. And I know it's easy to either externalize the problem to say that, look, I'm stuck in the wrong job, or to over internalize the problem to say that I lack discipline and I just can't do it. And how can others do it and I can't? But you've got to understand that it goes deeper than that. The fact is that you might not be playing the long game, or even you may not even be playing the right game. You're just stuck in myopia, in my experience. And when I say myopia, I mean the here and now, the demanding job, the crazy boss, the toxic situation, the full calendar, the mind that doesn't shut up, or just you're carrying too much guilt around choices that you've made in the past, or maybe regret, or just guilt of not doing enough, not being enough, not talented enough, or whatever other stories that you've decided to tell yourself. That's the stuff that's really keeping you stuck. The bigger question to ask here is, are you playing the long game and are you playing the right games? And I don't mean this in a very, come I'll teach you how to live life kind of way. I'm sharing this because when I asked myself these kind of questions, it was very confronting for me. When I asked myself what kind of games am I playing, fact is I was playing status games. What do I mean by status games? I really cared about what company I work for, how it sounds to other people, how much money I'm making, and how is it stacking compared to others. Those are all status games essentially, and they are not they're kind of the zero sum games. One person has to For one person to win, other people have to lose. And if you're always stuck comparing, guess what, you're not going to be happy. And the worst part about about a status game is that it requires you to play by certain rules. So You've got to play the corporate game. You've got to climb the ladder. You've got to follow the rules to get there because only few people get there. So, and that can create a distraction from what is real for you, what actually makes you happy, what's a career that you actually wanted. Like, for example, it's not about making less money or not caring about success or being okay being mediocre. I don't think that was ever driving me. I always was driven by excellence, but I also found that that excellence wasn't showing up in my career then. What I was craving was being able to be a thought leader, to be someone who can create some kind of philosophy, someone who writes books, someone who gets to be on Thinkers 50. And that stuff was not going to happen while I was trying to sell a little more in an account to drive a little more business impact for a large conglomerate. I don't have anything against that work. That's good work. It was paying the bills and it was interesting, stimulating work. I got to meet interesting people. There's nothing wrong with it, but it just wasn't where my excellence was and it wasn't where my dreams were. So the big questions to ask is, are you playing the right game? Are you in the right game, and are you playing the long game? So for example, if you are in a corporate job right now, you could decide that this is where I need to be right now, but you can also decide that this is a temporary stop. It's a pit stop. It's a step in the ladder, and it gets me to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and making sure that directionally you're taking the action, you're moving towards becoming the person who you want to become and having the career that you really really want. So, so there are 6 mental shifts that I made, and there I'm sure there are many more, but these feel like the most important ones, and I wanted to share those with you. Because the beauty of this is that if you make these 6 mental shifts, you don't have to get more disciplined, you don't have to get more productive, you don't have to blame that job. Because let's be clear, there's no there's not that much in our control, and especially other people. So we can't control what's outside of us. What we can change and control is what's inside of us. While that feels like a difficult job in the beginning, in the long run, it is the easier thing to do and it is the better path to take. So the more mental shifts you make, the much more easier your life becomes, because you can then flow with the tide and you don't have to swim against the tide and really push and push and push to make things happen for yourself. So the first thing is, the mental shift that I had to make is, and this sounds easy, but it's not. Um, I call it making yourself the priority. And what gets in the way? Everyone understands that their priorities and they should be doing this and they should be doing that. What really gets in the way is, one, if too much of your identity and self worth is coming from your job and your career, you're just too emotionally attached to it. So anything and everything that happens just feels much bigger than it needs to be. And that is why you're glued to the laptop all the time. Or you will find yourself doing these leaky, weird behaviors where, no, I need to be on that meeting because then they're going to decide that. And if that doesn't happen, then that'll happen and that'll happen and that'll happen. So I have to be there. Or I can't leave this to my team because they always fuck it up and I have to always do it. So I can't trust anyone else to do it, so I'm going to do it. Because if it's not as good, then it's going to reflect poorly on me. So this is all just, you making your job into way more than what it needs to be. At the end of it, it is just a job which is paying the bills. Let's not make it more than that. The second part of it is, we've all been trained to be good little girls and good little boys, and it's selfish to care about ourselves. It's selfish to put ourselves first. No, it's not, because guess what? You can't pour from an empty cup. So the one thing, and I wrote it down and I put it on my wardrobe and on my mirror so that I could see it every day, is the statement that my needs are more important. My needs are more important than my manager's needs. My needs are more important than my job. My needs are more important than my clients' needs. My needs are more important than my team's. Because when you do that, like when you start to fuel yourself, that's when you have a lot more to give to others. You can be more kind and more generous, and you don't resent what the other people, like what it feels like they're taking from you. It doesn't feel like people are taking from you. It feels like you're here to give from a place of service, and that is a far better, far more energizing mental state to be in, versus being this whole sad little victim, the good little boy or the good little girl who does everything for everyone and no one appreciates her or no one appreciates you. And I don't have the time to exercise and I don't have the time to work on my stuff. It's really not. It genuinely isn't. I know it can be quite confronting. The sooner you confront it, the better it is. Second is stop playing two games. I have done this, I am guilty of doing this, and I have seen countless clients sit in front of me and tell me this. So it's this typical, what I call hyperachiever tendency of, if it's not hard, it's not worth it. Or that I want to hit it out of the park in my job. I want to get promoted. Like I want to get 2 promotions this year, and I want to start my own thing on the side. And the MVP should happen, and it should be a scalable startup, and I should have this much money. I should have all these things, and I should get healthy, and I should have a great relationship. And I'm like, okay, dude, everyone has only X amount of energy. I'm all for you have wanting to have it all, and by all means you should have it all. But what I'm saying is that really what you wanted? Is that, are the 2 promotions really what sets you up, like sets you on fire, lights you up from within, or is it the thing that you want to build on the side? And if you're saying that the promotion lights me up and the entrepreneurship doesn't sound that great, then just by all means drop that and then go for this. But be more choiceful about the games you do decide to play. And I'm saying you can play all these games over a longer horizon of time. So maybe year one, you may decide, I want to get 2 promotions, and year two, you may decide, okay, I feel great in my career and I want to start a side hustle. And year three, you may decide, I want to quit my job and I want to do something else. Or year three, you may decide that this is the year of my health and my relationships, and this is what I'm going to focus on. But it's really about picking your battles, I would say, so, and setting yourself up to win. And then the other way that I see this showing up is, at least I've done it. I have done this quite a few times until I stopped doing it. Picking up roles because they're challenging, because no one else can seem to do it, or so, and I am the Messiah, and I'm going to somehow save the world and change the world, and that's what where the glory is. It's really not. It's just another ego trip that you're going on. So what really matters is having a safe, feeling drama free work environment. Do you feel psychologically safe in your work environment? Do you trust the team that you're on? Do you have a good manager? When I say a good manager, someone who has your back, someone who's willing to push you, but also is willing to set you up to win. You have the ingredients to really succeed where you are, because your environment trumps everything else. We make this big mistake when we say, no, I'm bigger than my environment and I'm going to change the world. No, that's not how it works. In every habit forming book there is, the first thing that you do is you tweak the environment to be conducive to what you're trying to achieve, because willpower is finite. The second thing is your role really aligning to your strengths? Is it, or are you feeling incompetent all the time, or are you feeling like other people do it better or easier? And if that's happening to you all the time, it's just going to drain your energy, because you're trying too hard to do something that you're naturally not good at, and you're always kind of having to push. and your results are never going to be as good as that person who loves it and it comes easily to them and they are just thriving. You're just setting yourself up to fail or at worst be average, and I know how that can feel. If excellence is something that drives you, then you've got to set yourself up for that excellence and finding the right places, being in the right roles is, I would say, 70-80% of that job. Because once you're there, then it can feel completely effortless. Because now you're curious, you're having fun doing it, you don't mind the hours, it's clicking, it's flowing, and that's what you really want. The other thing that I used to do is I would look at where I am, I would compare myself, and I would ask these, I call them now me questions, or these why questions. Why am I not growing fast enough? Why am I not getting that project? Why am I not here? Why didn't I not get that award? And these are all bad questions to ask yourself because one, you feel really horrible about yourself and you don't feel like you're doing well, and you start kind of pushing yourself more and more. The other thing is it just makes you a very annoying employee, makes you very annoying reportee for a manager, because it's like you're never happy. You're never happy and you're not appreciative of everything that the manager is doing for you. And that's something worth looking at. So, what am I really saying? What I'm saying is you don't have to be addicted to the fight. Look at your patterns. Are you addicted to the fight? Are you addicted to the struggle? If yes, it's time to change it. Check for psychological safety, which means your work environment, the culture, the manager, and second, check for whether your role really aligns with your natural abilities and get that alignment going first. Because that when this is part of your life is working and it's clicking and it's flowing, one, you'll just be a much more happier, more satisfied person, and thereby much more likely to succeed in your side hustle or anything that you want to build on the side. And it's easier to move from success to success to success versus moving from stress, burnout, failure to success. That generally doesn't happen. um, it's just law of inertia, momentum, whatever you call it, or law of attraction. That's how life works. Okay, the third thing is um, drop the perfect fantasy. What do I mean by that? So I used to do this a lot, where I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow and I'm going to build this thing because it's really, really important for me. And then when I couldn't sustain that crazy, perfect routine, then I'd be like, okay, maybe I should just take 2, 3 weeks off, or let me just take 6 months of sabbatical. And maybe that is going to help me crack it. And you know what? I'm one of those people who actually did it. Like, I quit my job and I was like, I'm going to crack this. I just need 6 months of runway and I'm going to get this done. All I need is you know, I just need to find a way to crack being able to cover my expenses, and that's going to be good enough. And you know what? 3, 4 months in, I got so freaked out about money. Very quickly, that whole perfectionism around I need to have the perfect setup and I need to have the perfect number of hours and I need to have focus and it has to be this way and that way, it just evaporated. Because guess what? I needed the day job. So I went and got back the day job and then just started building it in the messy way, the stolen time, and all the other things. Like, you've got to be okay with things being messy for a while, because when you're trying to do a lot of things, it doesn't just happen. Everything doesn't happen perfectly, and you've got to be okay with that. You've got to be okay with not having the perfect time. You've got to be okay with not having the perfect brand. You've got to be okay with not having the perfect visibility out there, or whatever else it is that you're waiting for to have the perfect conditions for you to start something on your own. And maybe that's what's blocking you. Next is trying to do it alone. I loved hacking things, and by that I mean I loved consuming books and podcasts and like literally obsessing over someone's business, because I wanted a business like that, and then trying to reverse engineer it myself. And then obviously failing at it because I didn't know where I was. I was applying the wrong thing at the wrong time, didn't even know what goes into it, and I was trying to do all this on my own. And I was just tired of doing it on my own beyond a point, because it takes longer. You make more mistakes, and you put in the hard earned amount of time that you have, the stolen time that you've taken out, which you would have done something more fun with, and you're doing this, and it's not working. It doesn't feel worth it. It's a very horrible feeling, and I got sick of it. I did tell myself at the time that, you know what, Mansi, you used to suck at gym and fitness and all of that. And I wasted years and so many gym memberships until I finally got the courage to hire a trainer. And I was like, I'm gonna hire a trainer. And even though it was like a really expensive gym and an expensive trainer, I hired him. But guess what? I got over the hump. Liked exercising after that, and I liked working out, and I got in shape, and it was much faster and much less effort. And that's the principle that I applied in business also. I realized doing it alone is not fun. And I got myself the mentorship, I got myself the structure, I got myself the community, and that's how I got moving. So, really, if you're trying to do it alone, I feel your pain, but you don't have to. Get used to investing in yourself. You are your biggest asset. Don't think of the money as a spend. This is an investment, and this is the highest ROI investment that you're ever going to make. So, anything that you're investing in becoming better, a better version of you, is always, always worth it. Okay. The fifth one, stop consuming and start creating. And I know if you do that, but then I don't want you to stop at just creating. And I'm going to get into that. And that is about, so again, consuming a lot of content, books and podcasts, and oh, this happens and that happens. And you got this major insight and it feels amazing. You got this breakthrough, but it's all temporary. It is not an actual business. And even if you have a blog, and I did start a blog and I put 2 3 entries on it, and I felt like really good about it, and I've seen other clients come to me and tell me that I have this Instagram page, or they have this LinkedIn brand, whatever it is, amazing. It's great that you stop consuming and you start creating, but you can't just stop there, because your LinkedIn is not a business, your Instagram account is not a business, your blog is not a business. What you need is a real paying customer, which means that you need to get comfortable selling, you need to get comfortable creating offers, you need to get comfortable understanding what outcomes you can offer against what pain are you really solving for. And I wish that someone had told me that sooner, because I spent a lot of time trying to like think that once I have a big brand or once I have a blog, then I'm going to monetize it. That is genuinely not how it works, especially for people like us who are busy corporate professionals in demanding jobs, trying to be healthy, trying to be social, trying to manage our relationships. It's just not possible. You're better off creating the offer and then creating the content to support the offer and just get paid. Okay. The sixth is getting comfortable with boredom. And I already touched upon this a little bit, but I'm going to go beyond that. Like I talked about making your day job easier, right? Now I'm going to talk about making your personal life kind of boring. Why do I say that? Because you remember we started off this conversation with not having enough emotional and mental space. What does that really mean? Like, where is your emotional mental space going? Think about it. Yes, it's the job, but also it's possible that there is just too much drama happening in your life. For example, relationships that are not working, or friendships that are taking too much of your energy, or you showing up for things that you're not really okay with. And this is my own lived experience, that when I started on this business building journey, all the drama of my relationships hit me like, you know, in the face. It was confronting, and I had no choice but to confront it, to a point where now I'm almost like a boundary ninja, where I'm very okay walking away from friendships that are not two ways, or they feel very draining to me. And for months I kind of felt really alone and lonely also, that I'm not going to have another friend, because when you have that pattern, guess what, like it's going to show up in your love life and your friendships and everything else also. And when you start walking away from one, very quickly you will start walking away from the others also. It's something that I have seen across clients. Folks have come in to start a business on the side, understood that their marriage isn't working or something else is happening, and then they had to go confront that. Because if you don't confront that, you're not going to have the mental emotional space to work on your business. That's just how it is. That's what my experience has been. You can't have like a sucky personal life and be kicking it out of the park in your professional life, because you get all said and done, a lot of your energy comes from your relationships. So it's really better to be alone than being stuck in bad relationships. It's very, very draining. The other thing is this need to, like, I work so hard, so I'm going to treat myself. So I'm going to either set really ambitious health goals, or I like to party. I'm going to have a lot of alcohol, or I really like this kind of food. Just think about, like, these are all things that you're doing to your body, and your body is your big source of energy. And when you have a lot of junk food, you will have brain fog. If you have a lot of sugar, you're going to have water retention and bloating. If you're putting on a lot of weight, you're going to get distracted every time you get ready. You just don't need all that in your life while you're trying to do make it big in your career, where you're saying, I'm going to do a demanding job, a high paying job, and I'm going to build something on the side. You can't say that I'm going to do that while I'm going to abuse my body, because your body is your strength, and it is a source of energy for you. So really think about fueling your body with sleep, good nutrition, supplements, whatever it takes to get yourself in a great physical space. The third is, um, you again, like when I say really ambitious health goals versus just normal health goals. You can be healthy, or you can say, I'm going to be an Iron Man. And I've again seen people try to do that. There are some people who are able to do it, like whose energy is like that, who will kick it out of the park in the career, and they will go be the Iron Man also. I wasn't one of them, and I have made peace with it. So it's really important to understand who you are as a person, how your energy works, and work with your energy and set yourself up to succeed. Again, set yourself up to succeed. And then finally, look at your social life, like look at the weekends. um, and don't do like networking for the heck of networking. So I actually did this whole experiment last year. I went to Bali, and for 3 months I was alone there. I didn't end up doing any networking. Not like, it was kind of by choice, and it was also not because I didn't really meet people. But I realized that I had a very simple life there. Life had simplified itself. I was having really good food. I was going to the gym. I was learning boxing. I was going for walks on the beach. And all the rest of the time, I had to myself to do my inner work with my coach and to work on my business. And guess what? I got so much done. And I'm not saying you have to go to the mountain cabin or go to Bali like me, but it's a learning, right? Like, what can you simplify in the rest remaining areas of your life? What messes are you tolerating, and what can you clean up quickly so that you can focus and you can bring your whole self to these two things that you want to do in your career? Okay, so this is my kind of summary slide. The real long game is the long game. Ask yourself questions that you've been avoiding. What do you really want in life? Is what the goals that you've got, are they coming out of FOMO, or are they coming out of comparison because other people have it? Or is it something that's really lighting you up? Is this giving you meaning? Is it really important for you? Then look at, where is it that you're choosing to struggle, and where is it that you're stacking the odds against yourself because you just like it when the odds are stacked against you, and it gives you this heroine complex? Don't do that. Where is it that you're being the good little boy and the good little girl, trying to please other people, having weak boundaries, and leaking away your energy in relationships? And where is it that you're being kind of the rebel because you're too, you, I mean, you're fighting against all odds and you're being the good little girl. I mean, come on, you're going to be wanting to rebel. So, where is it that you're rebelling? Is it food? Is it what are your numbing behaviors? Is it the Netflix binge? Clean that up. You've got to clean all of that up. You've got to get your energy back where it belongs with you and just stop leaking energy all over. Just bring it all back and set yourself up to win, because and that's when, trust me, it actually clicks, it flows, and you will be able to figure this out along with that super demanding job that you think is like really difficult right now. Okay, so if you're ready to play the long game, I mean, that's the game that I have learned to play, and I think that's one of the big reasons why I have stayed in the game. I know so many friends who've tried this path and have had to go back to their day jobs or quit or do a different version of it, or maybe just make peace with working harder or with less money. I'm not doing any of those things. I did not compromise on money. I did not compromise on quality of life. And I did not compromise on the career that I wanted. And if you want that no compromise life, then you got to have the high standards across the board of the wheel of life, is what I would say. Across every category, you've got to have those high standards and the strong boundaries, and be like, you know what, these are the choices I'm making, these are the things I'm saying no to, because this is what's important to me and this is what I'm saying yes to. So if you're ready to build something on the side, or any of these things resonated with you and you want to bring your energy back, maybe you want to stop leaking out all that energy and you want to seriously work on something that's going to fit into the long game, it's going to help you live up to your full potential, help you become the person that you've always dreamed of becoming, then this is the right space. Comment long game or just DM me and we're going to talk. Um, you can also stay in my world through my newsletter. You can go to limitlesswithmansi.com/newsletter, and that's where you get weekly editions of insights and these podcasts, so that we can create the work that works for you and not the other way around. It's time to take charge of your career. Awesome. Thank you for listening and thank you for tuning in. I hope this was useful. Drop your comments and I will get back to you.